Now I will describe what authentication is in the IT world. What is authentication? It is the act of proving that you are a genuine authorized user. There are three types of authentication methods. One is something you know, another is something you have, and the third is something you are. Something you know. These are passwords or PINs, and the longer they are and the more complex, the better they are and the more secure your data is. There's also something called a passphrase, which is basically just a longer password. What makes a good password? To make a good password, you should make sure that it contains at least 12 characters. It should also use upper and lowercase letters. It should include numbers and symbols. To ensure security, you should change your password frequently. Sometimes passwords have to be changed up to once a day, and the more times you change it, the better. Also, avoid using real words, and most definitely never write it down, because anytime you would write down your password, it has a chance of getting stolen by someone else who sees your password written down. And the picture on the right is kind of a little diagram about what makes a password stronger. If you just use the words Roger, that's really easy. Or if you use an actual date, that's really easy too. However, if you combine both of these words into some kind of complex system of numbers and letters, it is much harder for a hacker to guess your password and so have access to all your information that your password is trying to keep safe. Something you have. This requires having a physical object to authenticate. These can either be a key or security token. A security token is typically small in size and either uses biometric data or one-time passwords. An example of a security token is the picture shown on the right. Multi-factor authentication. When you have more than one method of authentication, it is used. It is only for highly secure data. It is normally can be comprised of security token, a password, and biometrics. Something you are. This has to deal mainly with biometrics. Biometrics is when you use a part of a person's body to identify themselves. There are basically 4 different types of biometrics. These include using a person's fingerprints, their iris or eye shape, their face shape, and their different voice patterns. There are many advantages to biometrics. One is that it is hard to lose, forget, or have stolen your hand, eye, or voice pattern. It is also unique for each user, and also it is hard to forge someone else's fingerprints or their eye shape or their voice pattern because each person has such a unique one. The disadvantage of biometrics is that it is never 100% accurate, and also changes in objects being scanned can be because of light, environment, time of day, and growth. Also, biometric data privacy is very hard to change once it's been stolen because you can't just replace your eye or your fingerprints that easily. False negatives versus false positives. This can be a problem with dealing with biometrics or with any other type of authentication device. A false negative is when it denies access to an authorized user. And this is mainly just an inconvenience to the user, but it has no real harm on the data that is being tried to keep safe. A false positive, however, allows access to an unauthorized user, and this is very bad because now unauthorized users has access to information that could possibly put other people in jeopardy or harm. How biometrics work. They work by having biometric enrollment, which is data collection, and this is when biometric samples are taken, and this is when the system takes notes of measurements and other key features. From this, they make a biometric template, and then from then on, each time a user tries to authenticate themselves, another biometric template is made, which is then compared with the original template. How computers remember passwords. To do this through cryptographic hash, which is a one-way encryption method. It is normally 128 bits long. And as you can see on the diagram on the left, right, when you first enter your password, which in this case is world, Your computer transfers it into a hash function. And from this hash function, it compares it to the already stored password hash. And if they match exactly, then your access is granted. And if it is not matched perfectly, then your access is denied and you have to re-enter your password. Here's my bibliography. I use the ITGS textbook and a website.